Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Three Solutions Leading Fleets Are Adopting to Get Ahead of 2026's Biggest Challenges. Today, it's being presented by Verizon Connect and GoCanvas. I'm Shay Green for Automotive Fleet, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. I highly encourage you all to ask questions during the webinar at any point, and we will try to address them all. But if for any reason we don't get to your question, don't worry. We will follow up with you directly to make sure that you do get a response. I'm joined by our speakers today, Joel Fisher, Global Director of Solutions Engineering and Professional Services with Verizon Connect, and Brent Nieder, VP of Product with GoCanvas. Thank you both for joining us today and getting this presentation ready. Joel, I know you're kicking things off, so I'm going to hand things over to you to get us started and be quiet so people can get the knowledge they need.
Yeah, thanks, Shay. I appreciate it. And welcome to all those who are attending. I appreciate your guys' time and attention today. Hey, listen, I just wanted to start with a little brief history of myself. So I've spent the majority of my career in technology, and running the risk of dating myself. I've been at Verizon Connect for about 19 years. About 10 years ago, my career trajectory changed pretty dramatically. I had the opportunity to sit down with the Secretary of Transportation at the time, Anthony Fox, where he let me know that about 92% of all road accidents were caused by human error, which dramatically affected me and really charted the course of my career going forward. So over the last 10 years or so, I have been hyper focused on not only connected and autonomous vehicles, but also just tactically and practically using the tools that are readily available to help improve driver safety on the roadways. Now, listen, so one of the trending challenges that we have right now and that I'd like to address is road safety, right? Road accidents are the 8th leading cause of death worldwide. And the WHO foresees that road traffic injuries will become the 5th leading cause of death by 2030, unless we take action to reduce the risky behavior and improve public awareness on the importance of road safety. The WHO estimates that about 1.35 million people will die every year as a direct result of road injuries. Now, in the US alone, over 2 million severe accidents occur on an annual basis, and more than 39,000 of them result in a fatality. So the human cost we're paying is absolutely huge. Now, moving to the next slide, today here at Verizon Connect, we're addressing real-world problems with our customers. Verizon Connect is a leading company in fleet and mobile workforce management software supporting commercial fleets. Our platform connects more than 2.5 million vehicles and assets. Our devices generate more than 400 million messages per day on average, including position data, sensor data such as acceleration or vehicle diagnostic codes, producing tens of gigabytes of data each and every single day. Which brings me to the next slide here, which is uniting the view of operations. Putting all of this data together is a challenge at best, and making it actionable is even more difficult. At Verizon, we are using artificial intelligence to clean up and enrich data with technologies to empower our customers and to make data in order to make data-driven decisions. This is why I love being a part of Verizon Connect. It bridges the two areas of interest in my world, technology, as well as improving road safety. Our technology provides our customers with a unified view of their operations, and we help fleet managers, commercial drivers, field technicians better understand the world in which they operate, the operational challenges they face, and how to better and more promptly respond to them, helping them make their businesses more efficient, effective, and safer. But let's go back real quick. Moving to the next slide here, let's go back real quick to road safety. Now, I think all of us have experienced a situation in which we're driving in our car, someone suddenly overtakes us and brakes right in front of us, causing us to have to slam on our brake in return. Now, statistics tell us that one in every 200 close calls results in an accident, of which one in five result in injuries and one in 375 result in a fatality. The more you drive, the more you're at risk. Now, we know on average, our customers drive anywhere between 120 to 300 miles each and every single day, which means that driving every day, there's a close call event for every 10 vehicles. Every 10 vehicles runs into a close call per day. Now, if we do the math, this gives us an approximation of 400 fatalities here in North America, which is, by the way, a terrible number. But the question is, what causes the close calls? And thanks to our AI dash cameras, once mounted in a vehicle, we're able to gain visibility into those events and detect a wide variety of risky situations, and more importantly, behaviors that lead to those types of accidents. For example, it can be the presence of a vulnerable road user in front of a vehicle, a lane departure, road violations, or even drowsiness that is the actual root cause of these events. These are all factors that contribute to the risk of an accident. Now, by observing the dynamics of thousands of close calls captured by our dash cams, we better understand the underlying root cause of close calls and car accidents in general. For instance, we know that phone distraction increases the probability of a crash by 140%, or that probability increases by 150% when running a stop sign. Artificial intelligence puts it all in our customers' hands to help prevent accidents by creating awareness of risk. A simple look at your phone can put your life in jeopardy. And more importantly, not only your life, but those around you as well. We have evidence showing that customers using our platform can actively coaching and supporting their drivers are able to significantly reduce speeding events and close calls, which in turn means lives saved. So, Shay, I think we're going to turn it over to you, my friend, and I think we have a poll for the audience.
Yes, thank you, Joel. We absolutely do. So this first poll we're going to pop up for everybody is we want to learn a little bit more about what challenges you're facing. So as you can imagine, the question is, which of these challenges are you facing today? Your options here are going to be A, driver safety and road accidents, B, information overload, too many messages and notifications, C, disconnected systems and processes, and D, change management. So please take a quick second. That poll should have popped up on your screen. Please just take a quick second to give us an answer. What are you guys facing right now today that is impacting your teams the most? It looks like we've already got some folks coming in. We're at a 50% split between driver safety and road accidents and disconnected systems and processes. So ooh, and we just shifted a little bit. Let's see. All right. So we're looking at about, looks like the majority of people are having issues with disconnected systems and processes. Just a couple more seconds here on this one as they filter in. I love all these responses. You guys are great. All righty. These graphs are changing like crazy for me over here, guys. All right, so we're going to lock down these results. It looks like we have the majority are still in that disconnected systems and processes state here. And then with a close second is driver safety and road accidents. Honorable mention, we have information overload, and then, of course, change management as well. So you should see those results up on screen, and we're going to hand it right back to you guys for some more great information.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you setting the stage and giving all that contextual that's really essential for kind of the rest of this presentation, right? And first and foremost, we want to start with what are the ways that we can help improve safety across all the businesses, all of our fleets. We want to make sure that everybody's getting home safe at the end of the day. And so we want to talk about some of our learnings there and ways that we can do just that. So if we go to the next slide, please. And what we want to start with there is DVIRs, right? It is the safety net that helps catch those defects so that we have vehicles that are operational, aren't prone to having issues, and aren't going to cause that chain effect of negativity that we just talked a little bit about. And the data will tell you that, right, 95% of the time, the DVIR will come back and say, everything's good to go, no issues, you're ready to roll. So skipping it, you are statistically in pretty good shape. The problem is that 5% can be really, really consequential. We'll talk a little bit about what missing that 5% actually means. Go ahead and click next, please. So, right, you say 5%, small number, but let's unpack it a bit. That 5% includes missed brake issues, which can lead to out-of-service citations, which could be hefty fines, emergency repairs, even bigger, towing, and driver downtime, which is lost revenue. So you can see you're quickly getting into six-figure damage at a minimum just with a simple missed brake issue. Undetected tire failure, another example. You get a blowout, potentially there's a crash, liability, CSA violation, and then you got your rates jacking up. Again, expensive and scary stuff. And then even littler things, overlooked lighting or coupling issue, that's a DOT failure, that's a fine, potential impounding of the vehicle itself, and again, more lost productivity. But really what all of this is saying is that there's a real risk that comes with ignoring and not properly getting in front of that 5%. One missed defect can lead to that one accident, which can lead to lives changed, lawsuits, and ultimately your reputation potentially permanently and irreparably damaged.
Perfect. Thank you, Brent. Yeah. So listen, you guys, I think what's important is just a reality check here. As we click through this slide, what I want to underline is technology is the beginning of your safety journey, right? So if we want to go ahead and click through here, technology allows you to have the raw data that is needed in order to produce effective change. But what's important also is to bring your teams along the path. So we can click forward to here. Change management is a critical piece. That is, bringing your teams along the journey is an absolute must. We have a motto here at Verizon Connect, which is helping you drive to a safer tomorrow. And part of that, what we have found is that part of that means that safety initiatives are leadership born but employee driven, right? So we cannot underline enough how important it is to bring your staff along the journey, right? Making sure that they are keenly and accurately aware of the why behind some of the changes, some of the safety initiatives that you're rolling out, and you provide them the tools and quantify the areas that you are hyper focused on. In addition to that, we at Verizon Connect, we realize that, listen, we're not the end all be all, and we're not going to be able to satisfy every single scenario that our customers have. And so that's why at Verizon, it's so critical for us to have partners like GoCanvas who can round out what areas maybe Verizon doesn't address specifically. And then the fourth pillar here is around our partnerships with insurance carriers, right? Helping you to not only do the right thing and improve safety holistically across your fleet, but then realize some of the financial benefits of that and be rewarded through your insurance providers. So listen, I want to give you a couple specific examples moving to the next slide here. One of the things that I think is really important is that, again, I want to underline the fact that technology is a tool. So what we did at Verizon was we took and surveyed thousands of our customers, and we put them into cohorts. And what we did was we found customers who had been using our telematics solution, but have not been focused on safety. We then partnered with these customers and helped to underline the importance of safety, help them to craft and create safety initiatives within their organization. And so by taking a few simple steps, enabling notifications and alerts, making sure that their management had their supervisor layer had the appropriate tools in place to accurately coach the drivers, we saw some pretty significant impacts in our customers' results. So as an example, we saw speeding event rates decrease by 34%. In addition, we also saw harsh driving, that's slamming on your brakes or taking a corner too tightly. So harsh driving events were also decreased by 26. But listen, we didn't stop there, and we can move to the next slide here. We didn't stop there. The next thing we did was we asked the question, so what about video? And how does that impact our customers' safety stance? And what we found there was really interesting. So again, similar case study, thousands of customers involved in this case study as well. But what we have found is not only were we able to use video events to continue the downward trend of harsh braking, but on top of that, we were able to identify the underlying cause for what was causing people to slam on their brakes. And in this scenario, it absolutely was people on their phone, either talking or texting, that was the clear winner and clear root cause of some of the harsh driving or harsh braking events that we were receiving. In both instances, we saw significant improvements. For harsh braking, we saw a decrease of 80%. And more importantly, the root cause behavior, which in this instance, in this study, was phone usage in vehicles, we saw a 91% drop in usage. And by the way, that was sustained for over 12 months, which is substantial. Initial decreases are great, but the sustained drop of 91% is of note. So I think I'm going to hand it over to Brent to talk about a little bit about streamlining.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Right. Some great examples there of kind of the impact. Wanted to make it a little more real too with some other examples and how we're seeing the impact on businesses and some of the use cases when you do digitize your workflows and your processes and adopt that technology, to Joel's point. The first one to start off with, so right, we talked a little bit about DVIRs and the risk and reward of doing those the right way. When you combine that with GPS tracking, it unlocks an even newer and better level of feedback coming from the field. So the ability to optimize your routes and fuel costs, as well as making sure that you're inciting roadside readiness, is better for the business's bottom line. Next, we've got customers who are also successfully doing all their CSA compliance reports, their maintenance schedules, and their driver safety scorecards, digitizing that whole process too. So the exact type of data that an insurance company or an auditor is going to be demanding, you can have that at your fingertips. Being able to provide your customers with real-time delivery status and proof of inspection, that helps build a lot of trust and further bolster that relationship, while also keeping yourself protected and making sure that you've got documented compliance. Analytics also, so one of the benefits too of kind of adopting this technology and getting off of some of these more analog processes and digitizing things is that all your data is now living up in the cloud. And so it's really easy to throw that data against an analytics tool. So a lot of our customers will leverage our analytics capabilities, and they'll start being able to take all that data that's coming in from all these different sources, and they'll say, okay, cool, I'd like to be able to filter this by what types of violations are we seeing the most across all of our drivers? Which of our drivers are performing best? Which one need more coaching? Which vehicles are giving us more troubles or are in need of some more urgent maintenance than others? And ultimately being able to see by location. If you've got drivers in different states, you might be able to want to see how things are performing kind of in these different areas of the business. It's really easy to slice and dice and get your eyeballs on different parts of your business that would be more difficult than beforehand. And And the last one I want to mention too, I know everybody here has heard AI for the last 2 years and change. It's the end all be all. It promises to do everything, but we've actually seen some areas where it's actually bringing real value. And one of the ones that we have seen is in anomaly detection. So kind of a lower risk. Hey, I think that we're seeing something here that is worth your attention. AI is actually quite good at identifying those things. So as all this data comes in and you build this big backlog of information in the cloud, it can start to more easily identify 24 hours a day, 365. Ooh, this one looks odd. This one probably needs your attention. And then the person, the decision maker, can get their eyeballs on that, follow up as needed to make sure that action takes place before our small problems become big problems.
That's perfect. Perfect. So listen, just to piggyback off of what Brent was saying, safety as an initiative is critically important to helping solve one of the largest problems that we have. But it wouldn't make a lot of business sense if we couldn't quantify the financial impact. But listen, from protecting yourself against false claims by an average of 70%, reducing the monetary cost of accidents if they occur by 22%, to realizing significant and real additional benefits from all of your efforts in the form of reductions in your insurance premiums. There are real life and proven cost savings. So listen, not only so let me just say this. The results are super clear. Not only is improving safety within your organization the right moral thing, I would argue, to do, but you can also realize real and, quite frankly, substantial cost reductions that trickle and ripple out throughout your entire organization. All right, so moving to the next slide here, the next area that we want to spend a little bit of time talking about is how using Verizon Connect and Go Canvas can boost your productivity. Now, on the next slide here, if we want to talk about telematics and how we can use telematics to use your telematics investment to increasing your team's productivity, we hear from our customers regularly on how our platform has increased their team's ability to, quite simply, get more done. For the most part, these fall into 6 primary and consistent categories. Automating data gathering, right? Allowing our customers to gather data from their vehicles and driver behavior automatically. Aggregating reports. Automate the data that you see on a daily basis to enable you to identify trends and, quite simply, take action. Fleet management on a single platform, right? Providing a single pane of glass to monitor everything from driver job assignments to fuel card management and security. Automating asset tracking. A lot of our customers have moved past just monitoring vehicles and are using our asset trackers to monitor everything from dumpsters to generators to ensure that all equipment is being used as efficiently as possible. Carrying on, right? Simplifying the billing and payroll. Using GPS data lets you see how many hours are spent at each stop along a driver's route, and you can track the average job completion time, again, helping you to improve how efficient and how productive your teams are. And the last one is disputing false claims. We've talked a little bit about this already, but video telematics can stop false claims before they even go to court by providing irrefutable proof as to who is at fault.
Great. Thank you, Joel. And we wanted to talk a little bit about how some of this is actually playing out in the real world too. So a lot of great examples there of how technology can benefit and the reason to do it, but let's talk a bit about it, make it a little bit more practical. And I wanted to share a customer story that I think illustrates this pretty well. So scenario, we are working with a bottler who distributes Coca-Cola products kind of all over their state. And they were suffering from a lot of the challenges that Joel just kind of highlighted there too. How do we have one system where we can automate a lot of these learnings, make it so that we can kind of set it and forget it? And I don't want to have to do a bunch of training and a bunch of learning and kind of, let these guys do their job, and let's not have the technology kind of dictate the way that the work gets done. Let's let the work get done right, and the technology should fit in where it needs to fit in. And so they came to us with a couple of problems. If you want to click forward one time, please. Right. The back office was saying, we need to know and to be able to prove where is everybody at and where have they been. That was one of the kind of the staples and requirements they came to us with. We are wasting a ton of time in our business doing a bunch of data reentry that is prone to human error. It is prone to things getting missed. And frankly, it's just not fun to do. And it's one of the lamest part of my job. So like, can you fix that for me? And then also, hey, the solution's got to be real simple, or I'm telling you, the guys aren't going to do it. And so we heard them loud and clear. And what we were able to roll out for them successfully, touched on a couple of those points. So one, I mentioned to set it and forget it. So the ability to start your day, I hit the start button on my phone, I put the phone in my pocket, I go about my day. At the end of my day, I hit end, and magically my location, how many miles I've driven, my turn-by-turn directions, when did I arrive at a job, when did I depart a job, all of that is just getting tracked magically in the background. I don't have to lift a finger at all. Oh, and by the way, all that data can push automatically to payroll as well. Sorry, if we go back one more. The office is also now able to see where is everybody in real time. So you can see here in the screenshot on the right, a snapshot of kind of, in this particular city, I can see where everybody is, what their position is kind of at this exact time. I can go back and I can click on an individual and I can see the replay of the route that they've driven for that day, kind of minute by minute, hour by hour. I mentioned all that is automatically happening as well. So again, you're not asking for a bunch of manual inputs along the way throughout the day. It's very much hit the go button, do your thing, hit the end button at the end of your day. And again, they have successfully integrated this with their billing and their payroll systems. So data is moving directly from the device into the cloud, into these other systems without having to have manual human intervention or data reentry, which is also a big quality of life improvement for all involved. Next, please. Right. So what they ended up being able to get rid of and change at the end of the day was one, right, the elimination of those manual time cards. They were having to fill these things out by hand. That all went away. We didn't have to deal with any of that anymore, which is great. That hour-to-hour transparency in the office, no more he said, she said, oh, he said he was there when he started, or he said he arrived at this time. We now have documented evidence about how the day actually unfolded, which is just, again, just transparency across the board for all involved. And their customers are happier too, because they're also getting, more transparency and better expectations on arrivals and departures. And they're also getting copies of reports sent to them as needed, so that they've also got the proof that what got done when everybody said it got done. Next, please. And the impact on the business too can't be understated. So, right, they're in pretty early days with some of this stuff, and they've already seen big impacts. A 62% reduction in the time that they're spending across their business doing data reentry. That's huge. A lot less errors, a lot less pain. All things that you want to see if you're somebody who's living in that world day after day. Payroll errors are down. That's happier employees. Less running down issues that we don't want to deal with. They're able to better project their profitability in a lot of ways as well. So they're doing some route optimization to make sure that they're saving on fuel costs, that they're assigning the right job to the right driver to kind of minimize fluff, if you will, and keep things nice and efficient from that perspective. And then time theft is another one too. This helps with a lot of those issues. Again, we don't have to have a debate or no, I swear I was here. No, I was there. It's all documented. It's automated. We don't have to have a back and forth about it. So all good things for the business.
Perfect. So listen, the next area that we want to talk through is how the implementation of these technologies will fundamentally help you all to reduce operational costs. So moving to the next slide here, I think one of the areas that we look at, we actually like to hear directly from our customers instead of us just pontificating from our soapbox on what we think or how we think this is going to reduce your operational expenditures. We partner with a company called Bobbitt Media Enterprise, and 2025 represents the fifth annual Fleet Technology and Trends Report. So moving to the next slide here, we'll look a little bit at some of the trends that we have seen endure over the last 5 years that we've been studying these various different areas. So of course, technology has changed pretty dramatically in the last 5 years. I think Brent was just talking about how we hear AI every other word, right? But listen, some of the things have been consistent over the last 5 years, right? Increasing costs are the top challenge, right? Fuel costs, vehicle costs, so on and so forth. GPS fleet tracking technology has the highest adoption rate and can help reduce operational costs. And return on investment for fleet technology can happen incredibly fast. That has been incredibly consistent over the last 5 years that we've been producing this report. To put it in some more practical terms and moving to the next slide down here, right? We have seen specific and exacting feedback from the report, some of which are GPS fleet tracking can have wide-ranging impacts on reducing overhead and costs for fleet, including fuel and labor and accidents, maintenance and insurance. Cost savings signals secondary benefits as well around sustainability and safety, and helping you to be more satisfied with the product in front of you, right? So reducing fuel not only means that you're saving money, but it also means that there's less greenhouse gases being released into the environment. We've talked a lot about safety and how reducing accidents, getting to the root cause that's driving unsafe driving behavior, not only helps to save lives, but quite frankly, it helps you to mitigate any costs associated with accidents and realize additional, maybe otherwise not sustainable reductions in your insurance premiums, right? The last is just reduced labor costs, typically indicating employees are achieving more in a single day because of efficiencies that these technologies can bring into your business, which quite frankly can lead to faster service and much more satisfied customers. So Brent, I think you're going to tell us a little bit about a specific case study.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Joel. And yeah, I think this one's a great one to tell specifically because, a lot of times we'll get feedback from customers or potential prospects who are thinking about getting their toes in these waters. And sometimes the concern is my process is just too analog and too old school that there's just no way I can really legitimately find a way to kind of bridge the gap into this technology and digital driven world. But I think this is a great example and a proof point that you absolutely can. And we work with customers that come from those older processes every single day. And Marco Petroleum is an awesome example. So, right there before was they would have a color-coded schedule that they would build in Excel. Somebody would take a picture of that thing and would text it out to all the drivers saying, hey, this is what I'm expecting your schedule to look like. And that's how they were managing a lot of who was driving where. A lot of the important documents you can imagine would get lost when they were in the middle of transit. They were spending a ton of time doing that data reentry, as I was mentioning beforehand. There was very little internal and external oversight, frankly, of the whole process. There was a lot of kind of fingers crossed and let's hope we get it done. And then they were having issues issuing accurate and timely invoices, which is also not great. So just the amount of human hours that they were throwing at these processes, the operational cost to actually make this thing go was, significant when they kind of looked under the hood. And so we worked with them and able to transition them all away from those processes. And thereafter, you click one more time, please, was they ended up saving over 10 hours a week in data entry alone. So right away, they're starting to see ROI right off the bat. Their bill of ladings and improved deliveries would take days sometimes to get done and kind of all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. Those were both now getting done same day all the time, which is great. And they also successfully integrated directly with their billing and their payroll. So their invoices were more accurate, expenses, transactions, and payroll, all with way less human error, more thorough, and a lot less data reentry. And I love Marty's quote here that I think is great, and hopefully it'll resonate with a lot of folks on this call too. You know, drivers hear it over and over again: safety and accuracy. And GoCanvas gives me that accuracy, and we love hearing that from an owner who's feeling the impact of how technology can really impact his business and his people.
All right, guys, it is time for your next poll. So we're going to pop that up on the screen for you guys right now. This one is about which of these is currently the most critical for your business in 2026. So option A is improving safety, B, boosting productivity, C, reduced operational costs, or D, all of the above, because all of these definitely impact business every single day. So we'll give you guys a little bit to enter in your answers here, and we'll see those results as they pop up. I have to say though, Brent, the on your jacket fits so well with today's presentation. So I absolutely love that, of taking control of your business. It fits perfectly. Oh, and it looks like, all right, D, all of the above is the front runner right now, but we still have some results coming in as that countdown continues. Big front runner for all of them. It looks like runner up is boosting productivity. As you can imagine, everybody, there's not enough time in the day ever. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah. So the vast majority of folks looks like are saying all of the above. So all three of these options are definitely impacting them. We're going to see the results pop up on screen right now. So get a quick look at those. But yeah, wow, 58.82% at D, all of the above. So with those results, I'll hand things back to you, Brent, to help folks get more insight on this.
Great. Yes. So if you've stuck around this long through the call, this is the secret section where you're going to get the benefit of 33 years of experience in this world between Joel and I. And, you know, all these things are great, and we want to make improvements across the board. But like, how do you actually make it real? Walk me through the steps and the tips and the tricks that we have seen over the years to actually make it happen. And so we've got 4 kind of secrets that we wanted to kind of walk you through, where regardless of the size of your business, the vertical that you're in, however you're trying to solve, you're going to have your own unique problems that you know best. But these are some universal tips and tricks about really implementing this technology solution to work for your business. And the first one to start with is you're going to be tempted to want to boil the ocean when you start looking into some of these solutions. You've got 10 problems, all of them need to get fixed. We agree, and we want to get there. But let's start with the very first one, the one that comes to your top of your mind that's keeping you up at night. Let's fix that one first, and then we'll get to the rest. So figure out what's that one painful problem, and let's get laser focused on making that better. And then we're going to make incremental progress along the way instead of trying to boil the ocean all at once. That's tip number 1. Next, please. Find your pilot group. So you've got a number of employees, you know, in your head, there's a handful that you trust kind of the most and who would be a good fit for trying out some of this. Figure out who that group is, who you know is going to give you good feedback, who you've got a good relationship with. I also like to recommend that there's kind of varying technical skills within that group too. So if you've got somebody who's really doesn't like adopting technology and is going to be highly resistant to it, but you got a good relationship with them and some trust, make sure they're involved with it. If you've got somebody who's super into tech and is kind of more of the pioneering type who wants change and wants to try stuff, get them in, and get a couple of folks who fall somewhere in between of that as well, so that you're hearing the feedback from multiple different kind of lenses to make sure the solution is going to work for everybody. You want a couple of different voices in that room. This next one's really, really important too. So being able to measure and iterate along the way. So first of all, figure out how you're going to quantify success, some number that you're going to be staring at to say, is this actually making a positive impact, yes or no? You want to be measuring what that is from day one, and you want to get qualitative feedback from that group of people in the pilot group as well. Talk to them. Hey, what's working? Hey, could you figure this out? Where did you get stuck? Take the learnings from all 3 of those things and then iterate on the solution. Adjust it and mold it. And again, it's your business, it's your people, it's going to be unique to you, but figure out what works for your group. But keep that feedback loop really tight, and then repeat that process until the feedback is pretty across the board. Hey, we're seeing numbers going up and to the right that we're measuring. Our people are telling us this is working better. But be sure that you have iterative kind of feedback loops that are happening there to get it to that point, because the first version that you roll out, I promise, isn't going to be the correct version that's perfect. And last but not least, in general, it's really smart, in my experience, to make sure that you're picking tools that play nice with the other tools. So you've got systems, you've got processes today that work great. We don't want to be buying tools sometimes that are going to bulldoze all the good stuff at the, just so we can address the bad stuff. Find tools and work with tools that, the way that we like to think about it is really the mortar between the bricks, that can connect those systems versus making you kind of break everything and then rebuild all the stuff. Find stuff that can fit into what is working really well and just replacing the stuff that isn't working great. Joel, anything that you wanted to add on any of that? I know that was a lot, but anything you wanted to chime in with, please feel free.
Yeah. No, I think you covered it pretty well. You guys, just to underline one thing that Brent was just saying, the crawl, walk, run approach is absolutely the right way to go. Benchmark, identify the specific KPIs that you're wanting to improve, and then put a plan in place. Attempting to use your words, boil the ocean that is complex at best and problematic in most cases to actually effectively roll out. So
sure.
Well said, Brent.
All right. And with that, thank you guys so much. It was a fantastic presentation. We are going to jump into questions, and we have a couple for both of you. Kicking things off, Joel, we have a question for you. And it's, how can we easily use this platform to coach our drivers?
Oh, perfect. So listen, to kind of piggyback on what we were just talking about, initially, my recommendation is to use our platform to gain status quo, where you are at, and benchmark those, specifically around safety. Benchmark your safety behaviors that you're seeing inside of your fleet. In addition to that, once you have that baseline, then our platform makes it incredibly easy to not only identify the specific areas that you should absolutely focus on, we make it very easy to, at a glance, see how safe your fleet is in totality, who are your primary offenders, right? We typically see that it's the 80-20 rule follows through as it relates to safety. So about 20% of your drivers are going to be causing most of your issues, but it's easy to identify, and we make it incredibly easy to identify who is, which drivers are maybe problematic from a safety perspective. Zero in on exactly what behaviors are leading to their unsafe driving behavior. And then within our platform, you can easily pull up a coaching session, document that coaching session. Our platform will provide you with very specific and real examples, both in video form and others, of what you need to focus on. And you can underline the importance of why improving those said behaviors is so hypercritical to not only saving lives, but also realizing some of the cost reductions that we spoke about. Thanks, Shay. I appreciate the question.
Awesome. That was a great answer. Thank you. We actually are still on you, Joel, for questions. The next one we have up for you is, can my field manager remove a video event from impacting their driver's score?
Absolutely. So listen, we use artificial intelligence in conjunction with our dash cameras, and the cameras are not only looking for unsafe behaviors on the roadway in front of the vehicle, but also at the driver to see what they're doing. Are they using their phone? Are they maybe smoking? Are they doing some other things that are unsafe? The AI is incredibly accurate at this point. We have about 750 million video events that have helped us to improve the accuracy of our AI models. That equates to about 375 years worth of data, right? How we've fed into our AI model. So we're very accurate. Now, that said, if you run into a situation where you don't agree with the AI model, just simply don't agree with it, you can easily go in and dismiss or delete said video. And then once you do so, that easily trickles down and affects their overall safety score. So we have a safety score on the platform. It's 0 to 100. At the 85 and above mark, we consider safe. 84 and below, we consider you unsafe, primarily because you're twice as likely to be in an accident in the next 60 days. But if you delete a video, answer your question very directly, if you delete a video, that absolutely carries through and affects your overall safety score. Thanks, Shay.
Oh, thank you. Brent, we're going to jump over to you really quick. So first question we have for you here is, can Verizon Connect and GoCanvas integrate with one another?
Yeah, good question. The short answer, absolutely. The longer answer is, we have really invested a lot in our APIs in general. It's really easy to get data and information in and out of the systems. If you've got technical folks available to you and resources, we've got awesome documentation that can show you how to do it in-house and no problem. If you don't, or you just don't want to deal with it, we've got people on our team that are happy to work with you to make that happen. However you want to go about it, we've got answers.
So, well, and just to piggyback on that one, we have another integration question. Is there API capability? And if so, how would you go about connecting with that API for automation programs like Power Automate or Zapier?
Yeah, and the answer is 100% absolutely. When you're logged into the product for GoCanvas, as an example, if you go to just api.gocanvas.com, everything is there. It's got a really great examples, just full modern REST API. It's got all the bells and whistles you could want. We're also adding new stuff to it all the time too. It's an area that we actively are investing in. So, yeah, go ahead, Joel, please.
No, you're good. So similarly, we at Verizon Connect, we have a developer portal. We have approximately 24 open REST-based APIs that you can, quite frankly, get most of what you're seeing in the portal exported out into whatever application that you want, right? So that what's important to us is your data is delivered to you where you use it, right? If it's siloed in just Verizon Connect, it's almost in some instances becomes meaningless, right? So it's hyper important to us for you to be able to consume our data, how and visualize it where you want to.
Well said.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you both. Brent, we are going to stick with you for just another second here. But the question that we have for you is, does the tracking work if they have no cell coverage?
Yeah. So we get this a lot. We work with customers all the time that are in low to no connectivity throughout their day, as you could imagine. And the answer is, it is not dependent on cell coverage to have the tracking work. It is dependent on the GPS signal, which tends to be much more durable. So if you are in a building, that's got a metal roof and you've got no cell coverage, very regularly you'll see that you still do have GPS satellite coverage. If you're 300 feet underground in a mine shaft, GPS probably can't get to you either. And what we do on our side is, if you're tracking, as soon as the GPS signal goes away, we will log that as an event, that says basically GPS signal lost, and we'll timestamp that. And then when you come back online, we'll timestamp when you came back online, and we'll note that as well. So anytime that there is weird losses, which are much less frequent than you will see with cell coverage as an example, we will kind of automate the tracking of all that, and it's all reportable, and you can see all that happening too. We visualize that on the map that I was showing earlier also.
Fantastic. All right, Joel, you are back up to bat. So the question we have for you here is, what is the best way to handle a shared fleet? For example, a fleet of approximately 80 vehicles with different employees, driving different trucks every day.
Yeah, makes sense. We run into this quite often. So inside of Verizon Connect, what we recommend doing is to group up your divisions or departments into individual groups. These groups can be overlapping. So you can have, if Brent was my driver, I could have Brent in, region 1 and region 2. The best way to do it is to put the drivers in the vehicles in the groups or in the divisions that they actually service. And then that's going to enable you to get real-time reporting, not only at the regional level, but then also at the fleet-wide level. And it will allow you to slice and dice the data as needed in order to, I don't know, create some kind of competition between, the North and the South, for instance. We see that pretty regularly as well. But the best way to do it is just group up your people, your drivers, as well as your vehicles into individual groups. And that will still allow you to see what's happening fleet-wide, but give you the necessary tools to take action at the regional level as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, grouping is so important. Making sure those structures are strong can set you up for amazing success down the line for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So we do have a general question here. I think, Brent, this is going to be for you. But for those in the audience right now listening in that for our API question previously, could you just give a really brief explanation of what is an API?
Sure. So an API is basically a gateway for one system to talk to another. So there are a couple of key kind of, I'll call it, a lot of times I'll think of it like plumbing. So I've got, pipe over here, pipe over there. They're in two different houses. How do I find ways to kind of connect those two things together? And an API will allow those very often to go kind of both ways. So if I want to get water from house A over to house B, or water from house B over to house A, you can kind of transfer and make that stuff happen. And it all gets automated too. So you can just have them kind of regularly staying in sync, and you can pick and choose which pipes you do and don't want to connect. The good news about our platforms is we've got lots of different pipes with lots of different options. So you can kind of figure out what you do and don't care about. You can make it kind of as complex or as simplistic as you want it to be. It's going to come down to your needs, what your technology stack looks like. It's probably the best, simplest analogy I can give.
It's probably one of the best explanations for what an API is that I've heard in quite a while. So great job on that for sure. All right, next question, Brent, we're going to stick with you. Does GoCanvas have DVIR forms and reports? And if they do, how do I try?
Yeah, we got everything. So every form you could imagine we got. But to answer your question, yes, we do absolutely have DVI reports. We've got templates that already exist that you can start with. What's really cool about our platform is, you can start with the template and you can kind of make it whatever you want. We've got a whole drag and drop interface with no coding necessary. So you can add questions, remove questions, change the order, all kinds of things. Again, you can get it kind of as fancy or as not as you want. But we've got stuff that works right out of the box that you can start playing with. And again, I talk about that feedback loop with the pilot. A lot of times I'll recommend, let's start with the baseline template. And now let's talk about how do we want to actually change this so it works best for how we work day to day. And you can absolutely do that with any of our templates. And the way to get started with it is we are going to be providing a link to the Verizon Marketplace that has access to GoCanvas. So I'd recommend clicking there and starting there, and that's how you can kick off your journey.
Fantastic. As they're starting their journey, what are some good examples of what they should measure early on?
Yeah, quantifying versus qualifying. Qualifying is that feedback that you're just talking, you're getting back. Quantifying, though, I want data that I can look at and see before and after and measure those results. The types of problems and the things that I recommend quantifying needs to do two things, in my opinion, is a good starting point. One, it needs to be something that's genuinely impacting the business. And two, it also needs to be something that just feels bad. Something that people, if they're feeling that it's getting better, you're going to hear that. Or if it's not, they're going to tell you that pretty openly too. Some examples that come to mind for that is if you're spending a ton of time on data reentry, let's get a baseline of how much time are we doing on data reentry right now on average. And then a week, 2 weeks, a month later, how are we seeing the trend there? Is it flat? Are we actually saving time now that we've started with this pilot group? And again, you want to measure this within the pilot group specifically, but figure out something that's going to resonate with them. Another one that comes to mind too is how much are we spending on, like, how many payroll corrections are we doing per cycle? Is it, is it 1.5 and now it's down to 0.2? Is it flat? Is it getting worse? That's another one though where you could feel that people wouldn't be they would be happy to see that improving. So that's a good one I like to lean into. And some really simple ones too to also think about is, like, just double checking, are people logging in regularly? Like, are they using the thing? So that'd be one I keep an eye on. And then basically, are they filling out their DVIRs as an example? We call those submissions. How many forms are getting completed? So ones that impact the business, like data reentry time, payroll, number of payroll corrections per cycle, and then also like some proof points that the thing is actually getting used and adopted by this pilot group. Really, really smart ways to kind of start with it. It doesn't need to be super fancy or complicated. Just pick something that you believe in, that you're going to care about, and that group's going to care about, and stay focused on that.
Like great guidance there. That boiling the ocean part, right?
Yeah,
You want to focus on what they're like, not all of the data. You don't need to track everything all at once. Give yourself a break. It'll be okay. You can slowly start to add stuff in. So,
totally.
All right, we do have another question here. It looks like we're going to be bouncing over to Joel. And this question is, do the telematics alerts inform your driver training? And how do you increase engagement?
Yeah, no, for sure. So listen, a couple different ways that drivers are alerted. So we have a wide variety and options of how you want your drivers to be alerted of said event when a said event occurs, whether it's a driving behavior or otherwise. So in that scenario, we have everything from a text message alert that can be delivered to a in-cab message, right? Those do a couple different things. They help to almost act as a ride along with your drivers, coaching them along the way of when a bad or a poor behavior occurs. They'll give them a gentle reminder. So we see some significant ramifications and significant improvements straight out of the gate because of these in-cab alerts. Thanks, Shay.
Thank you. We have another question for you, Joel. Is Verizon going to stop offering reveal and go over to exclusively using GoCanvas?
Yeah, so what we're talking about today is actually a partnership. So it won't be a this or a that type of conversation. It will be bringing the best of both to bear for you and your fleet, right? GoCanvas in a lot of ways augments what Verizon Connect has, and vice versa, right? And so I think what we most wanted to bring home today is the power of this partnership and how this partnership will enable you to improve safety, improve your productivity, and find the operational efficiencies that you absolutely need, want, and desire inside of your own fleet.
Awesome. Great answer. We have one last question before we wrap up the session today. And Joel, this one's also for you. The number of software tools that we need keeps growing. How are we supposed to juggle all of these tools and expect our workforce to keep up with an ever increasing tech stack?
Yeah. So listen, what's important to us is that we make this as simple as possible. It's why we're in front of you today. It's why Verizon Connect has a marketplace, which GoCanvas is now a part of. We want to make this technology journey as seamless and easy to use for the end user as possible. And so to that end, you heard me earlier on, I think I was talking about safety at the time, but partnerships are key and critical to our business. We realize that we can't be everything to everyone. And it's why we have partners like GoCanvas so that you can maximize the return on your guys' technology investment. Thanks, Shay.
Thank you. With that last question, it's actually all the time that we have for today, right on the nose. But for anyone, if you have follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll make sure that you do get answers. We hope that you guys all enjoyed today's webinar. I want to again thank Brent, Joel, Verizon Connect, and Go Canvas for today's presentation. This session will be available on demand on the Automotive Fleet website at automotivefleet.com/webinars. But again, a big thank you to everyone for coming in today. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. And thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.